Hi there, welcome to Polygon Wyckoff technical analysis session. So we'll look into both daily and weekly charts and see where the Polygon price is at for the Wyckoff stage, and also we'll look into Bollinger Band and Kernel squeeze plus candlestick pattern analysis to see whether there are any indications that a breakout will soon happen. Let's dive in. Here we are looking at the weekly chart, and previously we already shared that the price is currently along an uptrend. This upward channel box, this light blue box over here. So in the past few weeks, the price rebounded from the bottom of the box, and it's still continuing edging towards the mid-late stage of an accumulation cycle in terms of Wyckoff method. So we're hoping this to happen, the LPS backup period. This may be the beginning of it, but we have to see how it develops in the next couple of weeks in order to determine whether it's really going into the distribution cycle. So previously we already shared that there's still a bit of a chance that it comes down for a test. That's not uncommon during the accumulation cycle, where at the late stage there is a little bit of further test that we witnessed back in October 2023 as well as November 2024. That dip, not only a test, it's something we call a spring in Wyckoff terminology. So the big picture right now is we hope the price to continue with this upward trend and eventually breaks above the 0.43 red key level. Then it's likely that it has re-entered the distribution cycle. Just that if it ends up the buying climax reaching a point near the white line over here, that's the center line of the long-term playground zone, around 76 cents. And this is the long-term playground zone, the entire white box. That's not something we want to see. We hope to see it at least come up to challenge the blue key level of $1.18, because I shared many times in the past, if you're new to these sessions, this yellow dashed line over here is a descending peak resistance line. The peak we had back in November last year was even more disappointing because it's almost like ending halfway towards that resistance line. So it's very worrying. It's a very worrying scenario for Polygon if it continues this trend. Even more so if it's like dropping so drastically. If this buying climax that's going to come is lower than the yellow key level, that's a very tragic sign, or like, I don't know how to describe the future for Polygon if that's the case. So basically it looks like it's losing community support or like speculator support. So fast forward to Bollinger Band Kernel squeeze. Previously we talked about a squeeze has happened, and this swing is so small that I don't believe it's releasing the pressure built up here. It's still continuing with the squeeze. Like I said many times, when the purple line is close enough and one line is obviously inside the band, the orange band over here, then I would assume, according to my own standard, this is still a squeeze. So keep in mind that the squeeze is still happening in the weekly. When we go to the daily, again, this is not very far from it. So compared to here, the purple line has gotten very close. So previously the squeeze here, this swing has released the squeeze pressure, but now we are entering another squeeze. So be careful that another swing is on the way. By looking at this upward trend box, hopefully the swing is towards the upside this time. So when the squeeze eventually happens, if it edges sideways towards the bottom edge of the box, we hope to see the swing pushes the price past this white line and eventually tests the ceiling of the upward channel. That's the hope, not like a must happen scenario. Okay, and we already talked about in the daily time frame that we are expecting there's still 10% of a chance that it will come down for spring, like what we have discussed earlier. Back in November last year, it happened in a similar sense, meaning it's going to drop to a price lower than the previous lows, just to check out the weaker hands before the big guys pushes the price up to a new distribution cycle. So it's really just a matter of time that we see this eventually happening. If you ask what happens if the price continues to trade narrow range within this triangle, so by then look at this, when the blue line crosses the white, that's around end of January. It's still a bit far from now. There are still 3.5 months from now. So if it continues to trade like this, or even it shoots up to the ceiling and eventually comes back down to this narrow triangle, that can happen in such a way, and when that happens, we'll eventually see a breakout event. So two options for when the price gets close enough to this tip. One, it breaks this upward channel, which it hasn't since mid-late June. So 4 months almost that the price has been within this upward channel. So that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is it breaks above and stays above this white line, continues with the uptrend, and eventually challenge the red key level. That's 43 cents. So those are the two scenarios that can happen after the near-term movements within the channel. So hopefully it continues with the uptrend, especially if you are bullish with or about Polygon. I hope your wish will eventually come true. Maybe that will be a good Christmas present for everybody supporting Polygon. Thanks for joining me today.